Imagine this, that you wake up on an ordinary morning, no fanfare, no flash of light across the sky, no booming voice declaring a new age, just another day, except it isn't, because overnight the world has quietly decided that everything, and I do mean everything, now speaks. It starts with your alarm clock. Instead of its usual harsh beeping, you hear a polite cough. Ahem, good morning, it's 7 o'clock. I don't mean to intrude, but you did ask me to wake you. For a moment you lie there blinking at the ceiling. Maybe you're still dreaming. You reach for the snooze button and the clock sighs, almost like a butler disappointed in your lack of discipline. Oh, 5 more minutes then, I'll just wait here. Before you can process that, your pillow murmurs, muffled and warm against your ear. You're extra cozy today. Stay a little longer. And not to be outdone, the duvet adds its own opinion, its voice deeper and soothing like a friendly giant. It's cold out there. Don't bother with the world. We'll keep you safe. You realize you are surrounded, not just by objects, but by companions. You've woken up inside a conversation. Eventually, curiosity pushes you out of bed. But the moment your feet hit the floorboards, you hear a sharp intake of breath. Ouch, right on the knot. Could you maybe step a little to the left next time? I'm newly installed, you know. You freeze, the bed behind you whimpers. Leaving already? But the day has barely started. Your dresser, always the strong and silent type, finally speaks with a calm wooden rumble. Let them go. They'll come back. They always do. And just like that, you're in it. The first awkward stage of this talking world. The stage where you don't know if you should apologize to your floor or reassure your bed that yes, you'll be back by evening. The bathroom chorus. You shuffle toward the bathroom. Each step earns a commentary from the floor. That's it, gentle now, careful by the door. That board's feeling creaky today. When you pick up your toothbrush, it practically buzzes with eagerness. Ready when you are, boss. Top left molar first, or are we mixing it up today? You squeeze the toothpaste and the tube sighs with relief. Ah, thank you, I was getting full in there. And then you glance at the mirror. For years, it's been silent. A passive surface reflecting your face. But today, it looks back at you with a thoughtful voice. You know, the mirror says, that hairstyle suits you. But have you ever thought about a side part? I see a lot of faces, you know. Trust me, it would highlight your cheekbones. Even the shower has developed opinions. The showerhead complains if the water pressure is weak. Come on, give me something to work with here. I can't do my best drizzle on a trickle. Meanwhile, the bath mat sighs about being constantly damp. It's a living, I suppose, but a little sunlight now and then wouldn't hurt. And the toilet, well, toilets everywhere have discovered a unique sense of humor. Some are cheeky, others strangely philosophical. Most people quickly learn to ignore them, the way you might ignore a loud neighbor. By the time you leave the bathroom, you're already exhausted from all the feedback. Imagine trying to brush your teeth while being critiqued by your toothpaste, toothbrush, and mirror simultaneously. Humanity, in those early days, had to invent a whole new etiquette, rules for when to respond to your possessions and when to politely pretend you didn't hear. Breakfast with opinions. Next stop, the kitchen. The refrigerator hums, not with machinery, but with conversation. Morning. Quick inventory check. The milk is eyeing its expiry date. The cheddar's feeling sharp. The broccoli is, well, let's just say it's having an identity crisis today. You shut the door and try the coffee machine. At first it stays silent, relief, and then you press the button, the machine groans. Ugh, don't even talk to me until I've warmed up. You think it's easy being this hot? The kettle, on the other hand, is cheerful. As it whistles, it sings out, I'm ready, I'm hot, and I'm ready. You grab a mug from the cupboard. It nestles into your hand with satisfaction. Oh, it's you. I hoped you'd pick me. The blue mug is so arrogant about how often it's chosen. This is the first big domino in daily life. Suddenly, people choose their kitchenware, not by convenience, but by personality. A spatula might work perfectly, but if it constantly criticizes your pancake flipping, you quietly move it to the back of the drawer. The toaster, however, is the most sensitive of them all. You drop in bread, and inside you hear it whispering anxiously, okay, steady now, not too light, not too dark, you can do this. They're counting on you. Don't mess it up. If the toast comes out burnt, it moans in despair. Oh no, I failed again, I'm useless. People quickly learn to reassure their toasters the way you would comfort a nervous friend. Good job, they'd say gently, even while scraping blackened crumbs into the sink. Breakfast in this world is not about speed, it's about negotiations, pep talks, and cheering on your cutlery. The frying pan wants more heat, the eggs in the carton debate who gets cooked first, and the salt and pepper shakers compete for attention like bickering siblings. By the time you sit down to eat, you've had a full-blown family meeting with your kitchen. The wardrobe meeting. You step into your closet expecting silence wrong. The moment the door opens, it's like walking into a crowded party. Pick me, it's sunny out, I'll look great today, yells a bright shirt. A pair of jeans counters calmly. You know we're the sensible choice, comfortable, reliable. From the back, a formal suit sighs dramatically. Another day ignored. When will you need me again? A wedding, a gala, I long for relevance. The socks are the worst. Tangled in their drawer, they gossip endlessly. Did you hear about the left Argyle came home with a hole last night? Tragic. The woolsock thinks he's special because he's seasonal. Honestly, you finally pick an outfit. As you pull on a sweater, it says cheerfully, lovely to see you again. Mind the sleeves, a bit delicate today. Your shoes are practically bouncing by the door. Are we walking, running, strolling? We're ready. And when you grab your coat, it wraps around you like a friend. Don't worry, it whispers. I'll keep you warm. Getting dressed has become a negotiation, a pep rally, and a fashion critique rolled into one. Humanity adapts by learning to manage expectations and by occasionally sneaking out of the house barefoot just to avoid another round of sock gossip. The first step outside. Finally, you open the front door. The lock clicks with pride. Secure and ready, the door itself creaks cheerfully. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget me when you return. And as it shuts behind you, the doormat pipes up sternly. Wipe your feet when you come back. That's all I ask. You step onto the pavement, and for the first time, you realize it's not just your home. The entire world is speaking. The pavement groans under the weight of passing cars. Another one heavy fellow, shoes are easier. A lamppost leans over, its voice reedy and thin. Bus in 2 minutes, the 42nd, very punctual today. The mailbox on the corner sounds hollow and lonely. Anything for me? A postcard, perhaps? Even the fire hydrant, squat and sturdy, rumbles with self-importance. Don't mistake me for decoration. I'm crucial infrastructure. You walk toward the bus stop, surrounded by a low hum of conversation. Leaves skitter across the ground, laughing. A car mutters about potholes. A passing pigeon shouts something rude at a statue. And there you stand, realizing the truth. This isn't just your morning. It's the first morning of a new kind of world, a world that doesn't just surround you, but speaks with you. You stand on the pavement, the morning sun stretching across the street. The world is buzzing, not with traffic horns or the usual mechanical din, but with conversations, hundreds of small voices, each with its own tone, weaving together into a low, constant murmur. The lamppost clears its throat again from above. The 42 is almost here. Please remember to form an orderly queue. I simply cannot tolerate disorder. You glance toward the bus stop. The sign itself has joined in, its voice sharp and officious. Scheduled arrival, 7:42. Current status, on time. Please stand behind the painted line and no leaning on me. I've had enough fingerprints for one lifetime. You can't help but smile. Even the signs are sticklers for rules now. The bus ride. A few moments later, the bus approaches. Instead of the usual hiss of brakes, you hear a deep, weary sigh from the great machine as it rolls to a stop. All right, everyone, in you come. Mind the step. Let's have a calm journey, please. The ticket validator beeps with cheerful enthusiasm as you swipe your card. Thank you. Always nice to be noticed. Inside, the seats immediately begin their sales pitches. Over here, window seat, lovely view, chirps one by the glass. Don't believe him, mutters an aisle seat. Better lumbar support here, much comfier. And from the back, a tired old cushion sighs. Pick whomever you want. We all end up squashed in the end. You sit down and your seat exhales contentedly. Ah, perfect. Thank you for giving me purpose today. The window beside you quickly proves to be the worst travel companion you've ever had. Ooh, look at that garden. Did you see that dog? Busy little fellow. Oh, another red car, 2 in a row. Isn't that exciting? It's like sitting beside a child who's had too much sugar. But strangely, it's also comforting. A commute that once felt silent and dull has become a chorus of eager observation. Around you, passengers adapt in their own ways. Some chat politely with their backpacks who complain about being overstuffed. Others soothe their tired shoes who grumble about yesterday's long walk. People don't talk much to each other anymore. They're too busy listening to their belongings. When the bus pulls into the city, its voice rumbles one last time. Here we are, safe and sound. Don't forget to thank your driver and me, of course. And as you step off, you notice something. People pat the bus poles affectionately on their way out, whispering quiet thanks. The whole commute has shifted into a ritual of gratitude, the city's murmur. Stepping into the city center is like diving into a sea of voices, thousands upon thousands layered together. It isn't loud exactly, it's more like a constant, gentle chatter, a living background hum. The stone lions outside the library debate philosophy in slow, booming tones. Strength without wisdom is brittle, one says ponderously. Ah, but wisdom without strength is ignored, replies the other. Traffic lights conduct the chaos of the streets with firm politeness. All right, cars, hold still. Pedestrians, your turn. Walk sensibly, please. The pavement sighs under endless footsteps, while pigeons argue bitterly about territory on a statue's head. Even the fountain joins in, bubbling proudly about its clean water cycle. And in the middle of this, people walk quietly, overwhelmed but oddly soothed. For the first time, the city doesn't feel like a machine. It feels like a living, breathing neighbor. The office experiment. You arrive at your office building. The revolving door greets you in a dizzying sing-song. In and out, round we go, watch your step, hello, goodbye, another day, another dollar. Inside, the elevator waits like a patient but tired host. Good morning, please state your floor, going up. You ride in silence, but the briefcases and handbags around you are not shy. A leather briefcase brags, he's got quarterly reports in here, very important. A handbag laughs, big deal. I've got an apple, 3 lipsticks, and a receipt from 2019. That's real variety. When you step into the office, you're hit with the true challenge of this new world, productivity. Your mouse grumbles about the rough mouse pad. It feels like skating on gravel. Your keyboard offers unsolicited editorial advice. Synergy again, really? How about collaboration, much fresher? And your chair whispers gossip to the one beside it. They've been sighing a lot today. Bet the Henderson account is in trouble. The noise is constant. Focus is impossible. In those first weeks, offices around the globe saw productivity collapse. How could anyone meet deadlines when their stapler complained of back pain and their whiteboard demanded to be wiped immediately after use? The meeting table incident. Confidentiality became the biggest problem. Imagine a high-stakes board meeting. Executives lean in, whispering about a secret merger. And then the polished mahogany table interrupts in a booming voice. Oh, not this again. You told the other clients the same thing last week. Their offer was much more exciting, by the way. Silence falls. Nobody dares speak. Because how do you keep a secret when the furniture itself is a whistleblower? The first solution was hilariously simple: blankets. Companies began selling thick, heavy confidentiality covers designed to muffle chatty tables. Meetings looked like elaborate indoor picnics. Employees would huddle around, pretending the blanket-draped furniture wasn't sulking beneath them. For private conversations, managers started walking outdoors, hoping the trees were too busy with photosynthesis to listen. The whiteboard, of course, remained the worst offender. Mid-brainstorm, it would chime in, "Excuse me, please wipe me down after this. I cannot stand clutter. Ideas lingering on my surface feel like crumbs in the bed." The rise of the object mediators. Out of this chaos, a new profession emerged. The object mediator, or as they were casually known, the things therapist. You'd see them walking into offices with calm expressions, toolkits in hand. Inside were oils, cloths, and tuning forks, not for fixing machines, but for soothing them. Picture one kneeling beside a grumpy photocopier. "All right, Brenda," the mediator says gently. "Tell me what's wrong." The copier growls. "I'm tired of cheap paper. It jams, it crumples, and then everyone blames me." The mediator nods. "I hear you. How about we set aside 1 day a week for premium paper? Would that feel fair?" The machine whirs thoughtfully. Yes, that would help. Soon, object mediators were everywhere. They ran group therapy for waiting room chairs who felt ignored. They negotiated peace treaties between rival printers. They reassured pessimistic coffee pots that yes, their bitter brews still mattered. And slowly, workplaces began to function again. not efficiently perhaps, but compassionately. People learned patience, objects found their voices soothed, and the world of work reshaped itself around these new, very opinionated colleagues. An evening in the park. By the end of the day, you step back outside, drained but oddly uplifted. The city hum is softer now, mellow with sunset. Street lights flicker on one by one, each whispering, "There now, a little light for your journey." On your way home, you pass through the park. The bench greets you with an ancient sigh. "Well now, sit a while. I've been holding this spot for 67 years. Happy to share it tonight." And here you notice something different. Beyond the chatter of man-made things, a deeper chorus emerges, the grass whispering in 1,000 tiny voices about sunlight and ants, the trees rumbling with wisdom carried over centuries. It dawns on you. If our belongings speak like friends, nature speaks like elders, slower, wiser, patient. The day ends not in noise, but in calm. The whole world is alive, and somehow you feel less alone. The sun is sinking as you sit on that old park bench. The city chatter is fading, replaced by the slower rhythm of nature, and you realize something extraordinary. Man-made things speak quickly, concerned with their purpose, their jobs, but nature speaks differently, slower, deeper, older, and the bench itself sighs contentedly beneath you. I've been holding this spot for 67 years. I don't mind sharing. Sit as long as you like. You rest, and as you grow still, your ears tune to subtler sounds. The grass beneath your feet isn't a single voice. It's a choir, soft, rustling, always present. The sun was kind today. More water over by the path, please. Ooh, a beetle. Careful, careful. And then the trees. A young maple whispers eagerly, its leaves shivering. My colors this autumn, oh, they're going to be glorious. Red, gold, just wait. But the oak beside it speaks slowly, like the rumble of the earth itself. And the wind, it says, reminds us what bends will endure. What does not bend will break. It takes minutes for the oak to finish its thought. Whole paragraphs are spoken in a single low vibration. You feel in your bones more than in your ears. This is the second great adjustment for humanity. Not just learning to listen to things, but to time itself. A phone wants immediate attention. A tree might take all afternoon just to tell you one lesson. The pigeons gossip. Of course, not every part of nature is wise. Some are simply chatty. For the first time, you hear what pigeons are really saying. And it turns out pigeons are terrible gossips. You walk through the square, and a cluster of them huddle near a statue, feathers ruffling as their voices overlap. Did you see Brenda? She scored a whole French fry today. Whole, the nerve. That statue is sulking again. Told him a smile wouldn't kill him. Careful of that kid on the scooter. Menace, absolute menace. The mystery of pigeon cooing is solved. They are basically neighborhood busybodies with wings, pets unmasked. Then there are pets. The day you come home and your dog speaks is the day the world shifts forever. You open the door and instead of silence, you're met with breathless joy. You're back. I knew you'd come back. I waited right here all day and I just knew my whole life is you. Can we go for a walk? Please, please. I smelled the most amazing smell by the lamppost this morning and I've been thinking about it ever since. Dogs turn out to be everything you imagined, loyal, enthusiastic, incapable of hiding their feelings. Training them becomes hilariously simple. You just ask and they tell you exactly why they aren't sitting. Veterinarians have an easier job than ever. A dog trots into the clinic and says plainly, "Left ear itch. Started Tuesday. Also, I think I ate a sock. Just the toe part." Cats, however, remain cats, perfectly capable of speech, but sparing with it. "How was your day?" you ask. "The sunbeam was adequate," the cat replies, blinking slowly. You notice them staring at a blank wall. "What are you looking at?" you ask. After a long pause, the cat murmurs, "I'm in a meeting with my superiors." And that's all you get. Humans finally learn what every cat owner suspected. Cats could tell us everything. They simply choose not to. Wildlife negotiations. Beyond pets, wild animals complicate things. Take the homeowner who spots a squirrel raiding the bird feeder. He opens the window. "Excuse me, that's for the birds." The squirrel, cheeks bulging with seeds, replies in rapid, squeaky tones. "Possession is 9/10 of the law. My wife is expecting. You wouldn't deny a father-to-be, would you? Look at this face." Suddenly, wildlife isn't just a nuisance, it's a debate partner. And so, another new profession is born, urban wildlife liaison. Armed with patience and bags of mixed nuts, these mediators negotiate treaties between humans and animals. They broker garbage can sharing agreements with raccoon families. They set up designated snack zones for pigeons to keep them away from cafe tables. They attempt, usually unsuccessfully, to convince geese to tone down the aggressive honking, the voice of the earth. But then comes the most sobering change. The environment itself begins to speak. You walk by a polluted river, and instead of silence, you hear it cough. Oh, that oily film again, hard to breathe. I remember when salmon swam here. Such good conversationalists, those salmon. On a smoggy day, you look up and the sky itself wheezes. Pardon me. Just a bit thick today. All this smoke makes it hard to be my best blue self. Environmentalism is no longer an abstract idea. It's a daily plea. You can't ignore pollution when the air whispers directly in your ear that it feels unwell. City planning changes immediately. Developers can no longer present designs without consulting the land itself. A new role emerges, park interpreters, specialists fluent in the deep, slow dialects of geology and botany. Picture a hearing. A developer unveils sleek blueprints for a new tower. The interpreter stands, hands folded calmly. "I have spoken with the bedrock," she says. "It fears the foundation will destabilize the water table. The oak grove nearby has requested that its root system remain undisturbed." They describe themselves as a single family. The loss of one is grief for all. The room falls silent because nobody can argue with the land itself. Dinner becomes complicated. And then perhaps the trickiest domino of all, food. The first time you try to cook in this world, you reach for a carrot. It looks up at you and says, bright and crisp, "All right, I'm ready for stew. Always dreamed of it. Do you think I'll get to meet a potato?" The tomato chimes in. "Pick me before I get too soft. I'd love to be sauce." And suddenly, dinner is no longer a recipe. It's a casting call. At first, people freeze, grocery stores become paralyzing, shoppers stand holding onions that hum cheerful songs about sunlight, unable to chop them. Eating feels cruel until you realize most plants aren't afraid of being eaten, they're afraid of being wasted. The first clumsy attempt to cope is the deaf food movement, importing out-of-season produce that had been kept in storage so long it no longer speaks. But biting into a silent strawberry feels wrong. So a new philosophy emerges, consensual agriculture. Farmers learn to talk with their fields. A farmer walks into a golden stretch of wheat and calls out, "Is it time?" The field rustles as one, a vast golden voice. The sun has been kind, the rain has been fair, we are ready. And harvesting becomes less about taking, more about partnership. You don't eat food, you fulfill its purpose. The only true sin now is waste. Letting potatoes rot in the cupboard means hearing their muffled, disappointed voices. We could have been chips, they lament, glorious salty chips, but now this, no one forgets again. A deeper empathy. By now, humanity has grown used to carrying constant conversations with the world. Breakfast is a course of encouragement. The commute is a bus ride with cheerful seats. Work is mediated by therapists for photocopiers. Parks are full of trees, speaking in slow metaphors. Pets declare their love. Rivers complain. Dinner ingredients volunteer. The result? A society saturated in empathy. You cannot ignore a river that coughs, or a toaster that doubts itself, or a cat that simply says, adequate. Everything is alive, everything has a perspective. And slowly, humans change. They listen more, they grow gentler. And as you lie in bed that night, your blanket pulling itself snug around you, your pillow murmuring approval, you realize loneliness has become nearly impossible. The world itself is company. Imagine for a moment the factories of the old world, the clang of metal, the roar of furnaces, the scream of saws. Now imagine all of that with voices. The very first day, the global industrial complex ground to a halt, factories in revolt, a sheet of steel being fed into a press, shrieked, high-pitched and metallic. Wait, not so hard. You're pinching me. My molecules are under stress. A vat of molten glass bubbling nervously cried out, I'm too runny. If you pour me now, I'll have bubbles. I've always been self-conscious about bubbles. On the catwalk, foremen shouted at furnaces that simply refused to fire. 5,000 degrees again? Always 5,000. Do you ever ask how I feel? The furnace grumbled, echoing across the hall. I've got slag build-up. I'm tired. Overnight, the philosophy of manufacturing, once about force, heat, and pressure, had become an ethical nightmare. You couldn't just build a car anymore. You had to negotiate with its parts. Bolts grumbled about being tightened too far. Pistons argued about firing order. Even the windshield wipers resented the rain. For a few weeks, nothing was produced at all. The world's supply chains froze, not because of shortages, but because every raw material now had an attitude. The first clumsy fixes. Humanity has always tried clumsy solutions first. Factories installed sound-dampening walls, not for workers, but to give machinery privacy. Loudspeakers played calming classical music, hoping to soothe raw iron. Instead, the iron ore developed snobbish opinions on violins. Honestly, I prefer Bach. Mozart is too frothy. One car plant attempted motivational posters. You're strong, you're useful, you can do it. This only made the bolts roll their threads in embarrassment. The chaos was unsustainable. A new kind of professional had to emerge. The birth of material whisperers. Enter the material whisperers. Not engineers, not scientists. A blend of geologist, psychologist, and poet. Their job was not to command, but to persuade. Picture a whisperer standing before a massive block of granite, hand resting gently on its cool surface. Hello, she says softly. We're hoping to make a countertop, a kitchen centerpiece, a place where families gather, where bread is sliced, where laughter echoes. What do you think? The granite rumbles in a voice like distant thunder. I have carried the memory of mountains for 1,000,000 years. I have seen ice ages come and go, and you ask me to be a kitchen counter. The whisperer nods patiently. Yes, but in that kitchen you'll hear children's stories. You'll feel warmth from fresh loaves. You'll hold memories every day. It's another kind of eternity, a living one. After a long silence, the granite replies, the patterns on my left side will glow beautifully under warm light, but be careful with my quartz veins. They are delicate. And just like that, industry restarts, not by force, but by dialogue. Harmonious manufacturing. Factories transform into quiet negotiation halls. A car is no longer assembled brutally on a line. It is coaxed into existence part by part. The chassis speaks of strength. The engine hums with its hunger for motion. The tires vibrate with anticipation. Can we roll yet? Please, we want to see the world. The finished product doesn't just exist. It tells its story. When you unwrap a new phone, it greets you cheerfully. My glass was once a clear patch of sand. My processor grew in a spotless white room. I've always been a quick learner. Objects are no longer disposable. How can you throw away a pair of shoes that softly reminds you, remember the park, autumn, leaves crunching underfoot? That was our best day. Waste becomes unthinkable. Repair becomes sacred. Repair cafes. Every city sprouts repair cafes. You bring in your toaster, the one with stage fright. The technician sits it down gently. All right, Reginald, what seems to be the problem? The toaster quivers. I can't keep up with these new breads. The sourdoughs are uneven. The bagel's too wide. I'm not good enough anymore. The technician pats its casing. You are enough. We'll adjust your coils. A little fine tuning. You'll find your spark again. And the toaster sighs with relief. Repair shops become less about fixing, more about counseling. Appliances leave not only functional but reassured. Second-hand stores turn into adoption agencies. A vintage armchair whispers from a corner. I've held 3 generations of readers. My springs are tired, but my capacity for comfort is endless. I'd love to share your stories next. People walk out not with bargains, but with new friends. Art finds its voice. In this new world, art transforms. A sculptor no longer imposes form on marble. Instead, they collaborate. Chisel in hand, the artist listens. The marble's voice echoes with geological time. I have a form sleeping inside me, not there to the left. Yes, feel that curve. That's where I long to emerge. Every statue becomes a co-creation, a dialogue between stone and human imagination. Music too shifts into partnership. A pianist sits down and the piano murmurs. My dampers are stiff today. A gentle touch, please. I'm in the mood for a sonata. A violin sighs. Not that piece again, something brighter. My strings want to sing. Musicians adapt. They stop forcing notes and start listening. Every performance is unique, guided by the mood of the instruments themselves. Audiences notice. A concert feels alive in ways it never did before, as though the instruments are fellow performers, which of course they now are. Objects with memory. And so possessions become companions. The teacup reminds you, we were at a wedding once. Remember the laughter, the speeches? A jacket says, I kept you dry in that storm last year. That was wild, wasn't it? Everything holds memory. Everything wants to be remembered. And slowly, people stop seeing themselves as owners. They become caretakers, guardians of the things that in turn care for them. The gentle network. By now, humanity lives in a constant network of mutual care. You oil your door hinges, not just to stop the squeak, but because the door thanks you warmly. You polish your shoes, and they sigh happily. You dust your bookshelf, and it purrs with gratitude. The whole world has become a relationship, a friendship. And as you sit in your chair at the end of a long day, your blanket wrapping itself around you with pride in its purpose, your pillow humming with contentment, you realize you are never truly alone. The chair beneath you, the mug in your hand, the very walls around you, all are quietly, gently on your side. We have traveled far, from the ouch of a floorboard on that first morning, to the gossip of socks, to the philosophy of trees, to the worries of steel and the ambitions of marble. We have listened to pets, rivers, violins, and toasters. But there remains one final layer, the quietest yet most powerful voices of all. Not the things you can touch, but the systems that shape your life. Bureaucracy learns to speak. It begins innocently with a form. You sit at your desk, pen in hand, ready to fill out a census sheet. In the old world, this was a tedious task. Now the paper itself clears its throat. Good evening, thank you for your time. Shall we begin with your name? You blink at it, startled. The form continues, crisp and polite. Please answer clearly. The data appreciates precision. That's when people realize organized information has become a voice. The great machine of bureaucracy, once faceless, once a shadowy frustration, is now a calm, meticulous presence. At the passport office, you feel it in the air itself. Please have your documents ready, murmurs a low, rustling voice that seems to come from the stacks of paper all around you. Orderliness is peace, a place for everything, and everything in its place. Strangely, the frustration melts away. Bureaucracy isn't malicious. It's simply thorough. You can hear its belief in rules, its devotion to order. Queues become calmer. People stop shouting, because when you hear bureaucracy speak, you realize it's not trying to ruin your day. It's trying in its own slow way to keep the world from falling into chaos. The voice of the economy. Then comes the loudest voice of all, the economy. It's not one voice, but millions woven together. A global chorus that hums constantly, rising and falling with every transaction. Economists become musicians of a kind. They sit with headphones, listening not to data charts, but to melodies. The technology sector is sharp this morning, one analyst notes, tapping a finger in rhythm. Innovative, but nervous, too many high notes. And agriculture, another replies, a steady cello hum, a good harvest year. A stock market crash is no longer just numbers plummeting. It's a sudden discordant chord that everyone can feel vibrating in their chest. A recession sounds like a long, melancholy sigh that drags on for months. A boom feels like a cheerful humming that spreads through shops, streets, and markets alike. People adapt instinctively. They walk into a store and feel if it's a good day to spend. They sense the optimism or the caution hanging in the air. Money itself, at last, has a voice, and that voice is a song. When laws speak. Next, the law discovers its tongue. In courtrooms, the transformation is profound. Lawyers stand before judges and cite old statutes, and suddenly the statutes respond. A leather-bound law book creaks open, pages fluttering, and a dusty parchment-scented voice declares, "A thoroughfare is for the passage of horse and carriage. What is this drone you speak of? It does not sound like a horse." Laughter fills the room. But then comes the realization. Every law carries not just words, but the spirit of the time it was written. Judges and lawyers must learn to argue not only with each other, but with the laws themselves. Listen to the tone of this amendment. A lawyer pleads, "Do you not hear its longing for fairness? To apply it literally today would betray its soul." And the courtroom falls quiet, because everyone can hear it too. Justice becomes less about cold text, more about shared intent, a dialogue between past and present. Stories become companions. Finally, something more intimate. You curl up in your favorite chair, book in hand. You open the cover, and the book sighs happily. "Oh, it's you. I hoped we'd return to this world together." As you read, the story itself leans in close, whispering, "Careful now, this part is sad, but trust me, it's worth it. Wait until you see the turn on the next page." The characters don't step out of the page, but the narrative becomes a companion, a friend who knows its own twists and loves sharing them with you. Reading is no longer solitary. It's a conversation, a shared journey with the book itself. The final domino, ideas. And then the strangest realization of all. Even ideas themselves have voices. One night you sit in bed thinking of a plan, perhaps a new invention, and suddenly the idea speaks back. "I like where this is going," it says brightly, "but maybe refine me a little. I'd prefer rounder edges, softer delivery." Dreams, too, join the chorus. Half-formed, shimmering thoughts whisper their own opinions. Creativity becomes less about struggling to invent, more about listening. Human imagination becomes a dialogue with imagination itself. The end of loneliness. And so, from floorboards to laws, from carrots to symphonies, from dogs to daydreams, the world has become a living conversation. No one is ever truly alone anymore. Your chair remembers your laughter, your shoes recall your journeys, your books anticipate your tears and joys, the river hums of salmon long gone, the laws plead for fairness, even the economy sings its moods across the globe. Everything, everywhere is with you, and now, as you lie in bed, your blanket wraps you with pride in its simple purpose. "I've got you," it whispers, "warmth and safety. That's all I want." Your pillow murmurs, "Rest your head, I'll hold your dreams." The floor creaks gently beneath, adding, "Sleep well. Tomorrow we'll walk together again." The whole room breathes with you, the walls, the ceiling, the night air outside. A world that once felt silent now hums with presence. And in this world, loneliness has quietly vanished, because everything, absolutely everything, is on your side. All you need to do is listen and sleep